Hey everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we're gonna get back on the Camaro because it's dark in here. So we gotta get this thing back together. We did all this, completely tearing the whole car apart for no reason, because we have proven by pressure testing the evaporator core that is not leaking. So the leak is coming from somewhere else. And if I were to guess, I'd say it's the crappy rebuilt AC compressor I got from O'Reilly's. It's the second one that when from the get-go it ground, like if it's not engaged, the pulley grinds on the clutch. So I'm gonna take it back, I'm gonna exchange it for the new one, pay the extra 80 bucks for it, and then at least we'll have a new one then. But yeah, we gotta get this thing back together. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I just wanted to share real quick. It's October 14th and it's finally cooling down. It's 60 degrees in here. It's a nice, cool morning. And one of my dogs is out. Guess Robin must be up. So, yep, we're gonna get back onto this, get this thing all back together and sealed back up. And then we'll replace that compressor. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and glue this seal back on here. And I'm just going to use hot glue, kind of like what it looks like they did from the factory. So just get this back on there, so that's on. All right, so we got that seal put back on there. Let's get the rest of the box over here so we can start reassembling. Yeah, let's get this thing put back together. So this just goes down here in the slot. There's a retainer back here. That plate needs to go flat down on that little space down there. Hopefully it just goes in real nice and easy. So that's back in, that's lined up. So now we can put the cover back on and figure out some way of sealing it. I think we're gonna put some RTV or something around it. All right, so I don't know what happened to seal it was on this, but I got this rubber, narrow gap rubber tape. See if that'll work. And if this doesn't work, I've got some better foam too that should work. But let me see what the gap is there first. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the foam. So I'll get the foam real quick. It's a little too thick. Doesn't squish a lot. It's a lot thicker, so it's a little too much. Right, so I got some of this stuff here. That should work pretty good. It's actually 2 rolls of it. It's like 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, which is a 5/16. So that should work pretty good. And this is another one of my estate sale finds. Cut it off for like $1. Yeah, I think that's gonna work quite nicely. Yes, I just said quite nicely. All right, so it didn't have a seal on here. Like there's a seal here between this area from here to here, from this point to this point. But nothing ever came out of this side, so I don't know if it's supposed to have a seal or if it's just whatever. But I think it'd probably be better if it was sealed. But I don't have anything that small. I think what would work really good is that rubber stuff you use for putting screens in and screen doors, but I ain't gonna worry about it. It wasn't there to begin with, so I'm not gonna worry about it now. So let's get this piece back on without trying not to tear the new seal. Oh yeah, this seals nicely, very nicely. Screws in. These are all the ones we took out initially, hoping to come apart without pulling the whole box out. But that's not the case at all. Looks like it for that side. All right, so we got the evaporator core back in, and that buttoned up now. Got it sealed up. And so I got to put all the internal parts in. There's more screws that hold this down, obviously, but that's because another piece that goes on there. Our blend door here goes on there. So that's got to go on there. And another piece that goes on here. And we should be good. So I went ahead and put the vent portion of it back on there. It's at 3 screws. So here, here, and then the back one here. We gotta get this vacuum hose through its hole. All right, so that's through now. Then we can put this portion of the blend door on there. So get this out of the way, and we'll get the heater core installed. It's easy to do. I can put the heater core cover on. I'm missing a screw right now, so I have to see if we can find that here in a minute. All right, so we got the box all put back together, and it is ready to go back in the car. So I ended up, I don't know, one of the screws is missing, so I had to steal one of these. I took the one out of the back of here, which I don't remember it being there, but it doesn't seem like it needs to be there. Maybe it does, I don't know, but I don't remember it being there. And yeah, so it needs to go back in the car now. One of the things we gotta watch out for here, because there's a metal or a rubber mat down here that's gonna interfere. I meant to pull this carpet down before, so it's one less thing to worry about. But of course, I didn't do that. I don't know what's catching. Check the outside here. Okay, let's see. There we go. All right. Sorry I blocked your view, but that's in. Now it just need to be bolted in. All right, so we got that in. Just need to get some screws in there now. All right, we got 2 bolts in it right now. There's about 10 more to go. Some from the inside, some from the outside. I'm not gonna bore you with that, but just want to show you that we got the box back in. Okay, so the box is all bolted back in now. And now it's just a matter of hooking everything up out here. But the biggest thing is gonna be getting this dash put back in there with all that vent stuff on there and all that wiring that goes with it. So it's gonna be fun. Yeah, that's not, it's a joke, but you know. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done. All right, pretty much get the dash all the way back in. A couple screws on top need to go on. Gotta make sure I remember those grounds down there. Figuring out where all the wiring goes. Pretty much done with that. I would have recorded it, but there's no way I could get good footage of me just basically pushing that thing around and, you know, pulling things through and whatnot. So, but it is back in, and so I just got to get up underneath there and sort the wiring out. But it's round where it's supposed to be ran on the back side. It's just all the wires that plug into something need to go somewhere. And I got to figure all that out. I got the radio stuff done. I got the stuff over there done. The fuse panel, the light switch right here. And that's a lot of that has to do with the steering column and whatnot. So that'll all be part of it when we get to it. And Still gotta do the bolts down below to hold it in place. But yeah, it's definitely getting there. And it shouldn't be much longer to get it on there. And then we proved that the evaporator core is not leaking. I'm gonna go back to the compressor because the other thing that I discovered was when I pulled I cleaned everything on this system before I put it back on. And when I pulled the orifice tube back out, and let me get it for you. Okay, so when I pulled this out, I had cleaned this, and it's clean now because I cleaned it again, but it was completely filled with black crap. And like I said, when I did this system before, the only thing I didn't clean out was the air dryer, which I've got a new one on order, and it comes with a new orifice tube and everything, but it completely black. So I'm thinking the new compressor just was bad from the get-go, like the first one we put on. My son put one on when he had the car in San Diego. And from the get-go, if it wasn't turned on, if you didn't have the AC turned on, that pulley was grinding on the clutch for the AC compressor. So if you turn it on, it went away. The noise went away because it engaged. But if it was off, it was grinding. And so I exchanged it for a new one, well, for another remanufactured one here out in Oklahoma. And it did the exact same thing from the get-go. So we're going to change that out. I'm going to pay the extra $80 it takes to get the new one rather than the reman one. And hopefully we don't have the same problem with it. And hopefully it'll be clean. Like I said, it put a bunch of black stuff through the system. And like I said, I cleaned everything. I cleaned the evaporator core out. I cleaned all the tubing out, the condenser, everything. I cleaned it out with that with some AC clean stuff. So it definitely was clean before I fired it up with the new compressor. And the only thing I can think of that could make dirt like that is a compressor, bad bearings or bad whatever inside a compressor. So we're going to replace it. But that's where we're at now. We're going to put the dash back together, get it all ready. We're going to pull that AC compressor out of there, take it back to O'Reilly's, and exchange it for a new one. So that's the plan for that. But like I said, all this is already back together. I'm not going to put the tubing on because I got a new dryer coming from Rock Auto. And it was a complete kit that came with all new fittings, new Schrader valves, and a new orifice tube. So it's going to be all new, and hopefully that compressor will be good this time. All right, so real quick, I blew out the condenser, and you can see through it pretty easily now. So it's nice and clean, and I pressure tested it, and there's no leaks in it. So like I said, we're back to the compressor. So condenser's good, evap's good. So back to the compressor, which I think is throwing black crud through the system anyway. So I got to get some cleaner again. Let's get this condenser thrown back in here. So this condenser just goes down inside here. See this plastic clip right here? It goes into this plastic shroud that basically gives you your seal to keep the air flowing through it. So you get it down in there. It's also got these metal tabs right here that actually fit down on top of these clips on the radiator. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Okay, that one's in. We're in down there. And now we're in. Just put these little clips back in. Reach down in there and get them in. There's one. And this one, maybe a little more difficult. I have to go in from the bottom. There you go. All right, the clips I was talking about are right down in there. Let me see if I can shine on them. It's just a shroud, and the plastic clip goes in right down on there. So that piece right there. Same on the other side. All right, so the condenser's in. Now you just gotta put the fan shroud back, or the all this back up on here like this, and hold it in place with our upper fan shroud thingy. No, it's not really a fan shroud, but it's a radiator support, upper radiator support. I don't know why I got that song stuck in my head. Must have played on the video this morning or something. All right, so the condenser's back in, good to go on that. We got to finish up the interior, get it all back together, and still waiting to see the parts for the dryer. All the new dryer parts will be here Thursday, I think. Today's Tuesday. We can take the compressor out, get it taken back to O'Reilly's. That's the worst part of this job. I think I actually see oil on that thing. Is that thing seriously like, I don't know. But I don't trust remanufactured stuff anymore. So if you're gonna get something, get it new. All right, so we got everything back in and back in its place, all the wiring's back where it belongs. Next thing we're gonna do is pull the compressor out. Got the Firebird warming up right now because I wanna check the TPS, or not the IAC percentage once it warms up, so that's why it's running. So got some stuff to do on the inside here. Just basically getting the wiring all sorted out on the inside, but the dash is in. A few bolts left to go on that. So yeah, let's get the compressor out now. We got some parts for the Camaro. Let's open it up, see what we got. A huge box for such a small box inside of it. Well, today's magnet is a Bricklin. Pretty cool. Just sent that to Derek at Vice Grip Garage, even though he gave his to, or sold his to DD's Speed Shop. But kind of cool. All right, so what did we get? We got a new dryer, made in China. Got a bottle of, I don't know, Temp Select, some oil for AC, all the fittings, seals, and a new orifice tube. So not bad for, I think it was like 38 bucks or 50 bucks. I don't know, I have to look at the exact thing. It also came with this sitting on in the bag. It says, warranty void if removed. So I'm assuming that's if you're a shop and you install this on a car, you put this over the cap. If that gets removed, then you can void the warranty on the people, because you want to keep this sealed up till you put it on, because that's the whole key, is it's a dryer. So you don't want to ruin it by opening up and letting air into it. So, but got the parts to put on that, but that's not going on for a while because we gotta get the AC compressor out of there first. And that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna remove the compressor so we can take that back to O'Reilly's and exchange it for a new one. All right, so all this stuff was $58.92 shipped, including tax. So not too bad for the whole kit like that. All right, let's get this AC compressor out of here so we can take it back to the store. Yeah, the best way I found to do it is to remove the entire bracket. So there's a bracket that holds this whole thing in. You take that whole thing off or disconnect it from the bracket. There's a bolt in the very back. I cannot get a good view of this thing. Okay, so past the spark plug wire, all the way down in there, if we just focus. All right, so all the way down there, that bolt right there needs to come out. Best way to do it is to remove this spark plug and spark plug boot, spark plug wire, and it gives you a little bit more access to it, but still a pain in the butt because the tubes for the AC, so all these tubes that go to the back of that AC compressor and kind of block everything in there. But we'll figure it out and get it out of there because that's a pain in the butt one. But we'll do that first, because we always want to try to do the hard things first. So when it comes to the easy stuff, it makes it that much easier. So let's get that thing out of there. Now you can see now, got a little bit more access to that bolt right there. I took the spark plug wire off and the spark plug out, so I can get probably a ratcheting wobble wrench down on there now to get it off. And then once that's off, then the 3 bolts in the front, and they'll come right out. I might remove, well, I gotta remove the belt obviously, but I can't remember if I have to take this pulley off to make it easier. It could probably help, but we'll get to that when we come to it. All right, I got the belt off. It's just, this is the tensioning pulley right here. So your tensioner, just put a ratchet on there. It's a 15 mil. That bolt down there, just in case I didn't say, is a 13 millimeter headed bolt. And the next thing we're gonna do is, I think I am gonna take this idler off of here because it'll make it a little bit easier to get to everything. Because I think it's just those 3 bolts that hold it in, or 2 bolts, maybe 3. Yeah, there's 3 bolts. Get those off of there, and then it should be pretty easy to get out. You know, it gives better access to the compressor that way. So those are 3. They're now 2 10 millimeter and 1 13. By the looks of it. Plus the plug and everything. So let me get that out of there. All right, so a little update. Taking these 3 bolts off here, 13 millimeter, 10 millimeter down here, that releases the whole compressor. So the only thing I got to do left is finish loosening up that back bolt, which I might hang this back up in there so the tension's off of it. But yeah, that bolt's actually loose enough to, I should be able to do it by hand, but there ain't enough room to fit my hand down in there, so. Gotta do it other ways, probably with an open end wrench. All right, so I got the compressor unplugged. There's 1 plug to it. I think it's only 1, hopefully it's only 1. I put one of the bolts back in here to remove that back bolt. Once I did that, it just came out real easy. I think I remember I had to shorten that one because it wasn't the original bolt. But now I should be able to loosen this bolt back up. The whole compressor should be able to come out. So I got the hoses still attached to it so I don't lose any of the oil. And voila, out she comes. All right, so just gotta remove these bolts here to remove the bracket. Gotta remove the rear bracket too. My son, when he replaced it out in San Diego, he didn't take this bracket off because when he unbolted, I didn't have a bolt on this originally because I couldn't get it to go in. I can't remember why I had it all apart. I think I was repairing water pump or water or whatever. I was repairing something and I didn't put that bolt back in because I couldn't get the go in. So he forgot to leave this or take this bracket off when he turned it in for a core. So I had to get this from a junkyard here in Oklahoma. So let's get these brackets off and probably the hose off too while we're at it. So these are all 13s, I believe. Yeah, I already took 1 bolt off and loosened the rest of them. All right, so that's the bracket for the air conditioning compressor and the idler pulley for it as well. And what happened to the bolt I just took off? 1, 2, oh, there it is. And 3. So there's 2 more 13 millimeter bolts in the back. Let me get my impact for that. There's loud noises. So that's that bracket. And we can remove the hoses now. This is probably gonna make a mess. Let's tip it up like so. So at least it'll keep it somewhat contained. Actually, while we're at this, let's go ahead and take a look at the UV light. Yeah, I don't know where it was leaking all out, but who knows? But the fact of the matter is this thing was grinding on itself, so because the clutch wasn't disengaging fully. So either way, it's getting replaced with a new one. Keep that bolt with that. So I'm a bit of a pack rat. Yes, I kept the freaking plug. Need to find a old bolt. All right, so there's a big empty space now where the air compressor, the AC compressor goes. So, gotta get that back. I put the cover on so it doesn't leak oil everywhere. Take that back to the store, get a new one over the remanufactured one, because that's the second reman one that we put on, and it had the same problem where, let me see if I can make it happen here. It's not too hard to do. Where when it spins, it does that. I mean, yeah, I'm holding it there, but when it's on the car and it's doing that, that's all I hear. But much higher pitch, a lot louder, and yeah, all the time. So if the AC's not engaged, it does that. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired of listening to it, especially since winter's coming, and I don't want to have to listen to the AC compressor whining and grinding and sounding like crap. So we're going to exchange it for a new one. Hopefully the new one doesn't do that. All right, so I ran some of this power clean and flush through the evaporator, through the condenser, and all the lines other than the dryer lines, or the dryer itself, because that's going to be sealed up until I put it on. And the new compressor, it's already at the, I took it back this morning, and the new one's going to be in after 2. It's about 1:46 right now. So I'm going to go in there and get that put in. Then after that, we actually get to use something new, finally. I bought this to do this before, but we're going to use the vacuum pump. So we're going to put it on the vacuum for about 30 minutes to dry everything and make sure the system's sealed, and then we can start filling it. All right, I am back from picking up the new AC compressor. And I like the fact that it's completely wrapped in paper or plastic, so that's cool. So we got to get it put in. And you notice how it's not painted. I guess they paint the reman ones, and the new ones are not painted. So let's get this thing out of the box, all the bracketry and hoses put on it, and then get it back in the car. All right, so it says on the sticker you gotta add the recommended amount of oil to it. It says it's pre-charged with 3 ounces of oil, but scan this QR code here, and it'll tell you what kind you need to add to it. And then you gotta check your manufacturer's details as far as what you gotta add and how much you gotta add to it, or how much it has to have to start with. So let's do that real quick. Okay, so this compressor are Camaros for 9802. They take 9 ounces total of the PAG 150 oil. So it's already got 3 ounces in it, so I need 6 more. And this is 8 fluid ounces, so I need 6 out of this container. This came with my new dryer. This came with part of the kit. So pretty happy with that. I actually got the oil. So I need to add 6 more ounces to this from the 3 ounces that are already on it, because it calls for 6 ounces, or 9 ounces total. And so we got to add that to it. And it takes 24 ounces of refrigerant according to the chart they gave you on this QR code. So that's what we're gonna do. I need to get something to measure that. So I'm gonna go into the house and I'm gonna steal one of my wife's measuring cups so we can get 6 ounces. All right, so we got the measuring cup that has 6 ounces on it. So we need to fill that up to that mark right there. All right, there's 6 ounces. We get a funnel. All right, let's pour this in there. Trying not to spill any. It's going to take a while. I'll be back when it's done. I ran into a little issue getting the stuff in. It doesn't like to pour. It doesn't like to suck down in there. So I found a straw to use as a vent tube, basically. And originally I was just pouring it in there, and it was working, but it's not a very big vent. So I just started doing this, where I just kind of pump it down in there. This is the last of it. The jar's empty. But that breaks the bond of the thick oil. It gets to go down in there. So now we got all 9 ounces in there the way we're supposed to. It was just running out every time I tried to put anything in there. So I tried to vent and it worked sort of, but then I had to modify it and just kind of sort of pump it in there. So let's get the cap back on and we are done filling it, thank God. Because that was torturous almost. Right, now let's get all the brackets and hoses on there so we can get it put in the car. All right, got the compressor in. Actually wasn't too bad. That back bolt, the trick to that, stick it in the hole, then start tightening the front bolt. One of the front bolts, mainly that main front, this bolt right here, closest to the pulley. Start tightening that down, and when you feel it fall into the hole, tighten it down, and it went right in. So pretty happy about that. So now we just got to do hoses, and we'll have this whole system back together soon. All right, so we're gonna get this lower hose installed down here. It's got a stud on it, but it just has a regular seal on it, and it goes on the stud right there. It's kind of hard to see. It's up in there a bit. Just like that, and then it held on with a nut. Tighten that to about 20 foot-pounds. Good to go on that, so that's done. So everything underneath the car is pretty much done. So we gotta do the dryer, everything up top. All right, so I think the next piece we're gonna put on is gonna be this tube here, which runs to the condenser and from the condenser to the Evap. Can't think of the name of it. Already got seals on here, so those are good to go. It goes there. This goes over here and goes in. Oh yeah, shit. Almost forgot. You put the new orifice tube in here. So the new orifice tube goes in this tube here. It's brand new. Put some oil on it just to lube it up so it goes in easily. The same stuff that we used to fill the compressor. So that goes in there. So it goes all the way down inside there. See the little cross in there. Now we can put the tube on. Bolt here. And bolt here. And one's 13, one's 10. Alright, about 20 foot-pounds. Try not to tweak the thing too bad, because get you evap there too, you don't want to twist it. All right, so the last thing is going to be our air dryer, or our dryer. So this has new gaskets as well. They're both big gaskets, so we're going to replace both of those with these right here. All right, so one on this, on the evap, and one on the hose to the compressor. Now, this is going to be the first time that we actually open up the dryer. We'll start with this side. It might get a little pop out of it because it should be sealed a little bit. Get that on there. You want to minimize the amount of time that any of these components are in the air, but you also do a vacuum. I can't think of what it's called, but you vacuum the whole system out with a vacuum pump to dry it out the rest of the way. So got a new gasket on there. Get this seal off. Put this one on. And where's the screw? Oh, it is in the old dryer. Get that lined up. Get it screwed in and sealed. Plug our pressure sensor in. And there's one screw that holds the, right there, it holds the canister in place. And tighten that down too. All right. So the system is done. Just gotta put the belt on. I'll be back once I find a photo. Okay, so it comes up from the compressor, goes over top of this. That's the way it goes. So from power steering, up over the alternator, down to the idler pulley, around the AC compressor, then up and around the tensioner. I'm gonna do it off the alternator, it's a little easier that way. Just crank her down, and well, a little bit more room. Up over. Make sure it's on all the pulleys properly. Around the crank pulley, around the water pump, around the tensioner, around the AC compressor, and around the idler. We are good. Get in there a little closer so you can see better. So it goes up over the alternator, down to the idler, around the AC compressor, then back up around the tensioner, then around the water pump and down, so the S shape right there, down and around the crank, over to the power steering pump, and then straight back up to the alternator. So that's your belt routing. All right, so we got the AC compressor in, we got the air intake back on, the air temp sensors plugged back in, spark plug and wire back on. So now we gotta get the steering column installed. So let's get that done quickly. We got the steering column put back in, and unfortunately, all these pieces of plastic around here, that's the remaining pieces of my gauge bezel surround. So now I need to replace this piece and the bezel because that cracked while I was putting it on, and then, well, you couldn't really see it in the video, but I got a little frustrated and it found its way to the cement rather quickly. So, gotta replace that now, but just one more piece of plastic needs to be replaced on this thing. You get a car that's 20 years old, 24 years old, the plastic starts to get brittle. So you gotta be real careful. I've already replaced the radio bezel. I still gotta do the dash. So yeah, but it's an older car, so that's what you gotta do. Put the steering column's back in so we can fire it up now when we want to. Get the center console back in. I'm not gonna film all that. But we gotta hook up the vacuum to the AC now. So we can get that vacuum down and dry it up so we can fill her up and hopefully the AC will work now. All right, so I got the vacuum pump on it to dry it out. The instructions for the dryer said to do it for a minimum of 30 minutes. So that's what we're gonna do. Got a timer set for 30 minutes, and when it's done, I'll be back. So just on a technical note here, before you start your vacuum suck down thingy, make sure all the freaking bolts are tight. I came over here and I was like, I hear something hissing. And this upper bolt, at least it was the top one, wasn't tight. But so yeah, I'm gonna start it all over again for 30 minutes. Checked all the rest of them, they're all tight, so should be good now. So start it back over. All right, it has been 30 minutes. This has been going strong. It's funny how it makes a different noise when it actually that's what I expect it to sound like, but when it's sealed up, I guess it struggles a little bit more. So I'm going to close it off right here and up here. And disconnect it. So now the vacuum pump is done. And still got plenty of oil. It's brand new, so it should be fine, but just makes a different noise when it's sealed up good. But, yep. So now we got it completely sealed up and hopefully dry. I can't hear any leaking, so, but you never know. We'll see when I pull that off of there, if it pops or not. But I don't think I have any Freon here. So, might just have to leave it like this and go to town. Right, so that is all done. I am going to run to town and get some Freon so we can top this thing off and get the AC back on there. So I went inside and had lunch, and it's been well over an hour. So I'm kind of curious as to whether or not this held vacuum or not. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I can re-vacuum it. I haven't been to town yet to get the Freon, but I want to see if this releases. That's a good sign. I'd say that means it's holding vacuum, which means it shouldn't have a leak. So let's throw it back on there and do it for another 10 minutes, and I'll run to town and get some Freon. All right, that's been 10 minutes. That should be good enough. So I'm going to seal it up, close it down, and shut her off. So we know it does seal because it was sucking in the air once I opened it up again. So I'm happy with that. I just got to get some Freon, get it filled up. So the little thing that came with the compressor, our little barcode thing or QR code, the chart it had said it took 24 ounces, but according to this, it's 1.5 pounds, which is 18 ounces. So I don't know what to think about that. I think 16 ounces is a pound, and another 6. Oh wait. It's 1.5 pounds, is that? See, 1 pound is 16 ounces. So you need another 8. So yeah, that's 24 ounces. Okay, so that's right. So yeah, definitely 24 ounces. I don't know what else. I decided that I just recharge it again, or use the vacuum on it again. Just want to be sure before I waste any more money on freaking R134 that it holds up. So I'm going to leave it set overnight. Test it again and check it again in the morning, see if it's still holding pressure, or holding vacuum, I should say. Then I'm going to call it good. And then I'll get some Freon, or some R134, and charge her up, and hopefully get this thing going again. All right, so it's the next day. Did we hold a vacuum overnight? Let's find out. Sure did. So I think it's time to fill it. I'm gonna run to town and get some R134. All right, so I am back from town, and I got 4 12-ounce cans. So that means I need to use 2 of them. So I need 24 ounces. And I also bought a new one of these things because so far the 2 that I've bought have not had very good luck with. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I hate these stupid resealable OSHA or EPA, whatever approved freaking cans because they suck. I like the old school ones where you just puncture it and it fills it and you're good. But no, you can't do that anymore. So, still got good vacuum on this thing, but so we're gonna try this new one out. I think one of these, that's Harbor Freight one. I'm not sure where this one came from. It's a little different than this one, so it probably didn't come from O'Reilly's unless they changed their design. So hopefully this new one will work. So let's get it, let's try it out. It's a shinier gold, it's lighter, which I don't know if it's gonna matter, but so you screw that onto your can. First you want to shake it up a little bit. Screw it onto your can, make sure it's all the way open. Wait a minute, is this reverse? Okay, nope. all the way out. Screw it onto your can. Now these are the cheapest cans I could find. I bought them at Atwood's. So hopefully it'll work. Screw that onto your adapter here. All right, so now I should be able to puncture this. I just heard something. Hey, we got something happening here. Now open up this. Says to take it 12 to 3. It's getting cold, so I don't know. Shown in the yellow up here, so it's definitely sucking it in there. So the vacuum, having the vacuum on it helps. Feels like it's getting lighter. So maybe it's actually working this time. So I may have to fire up the car now to get the rest of it to go. Got a little bit of pressure on the high side now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and fire the car up. I heard the compressor kick on. Yep, compressor's spinning. If they're not emptying, I don't know what they have. Self-sealing cans. Try another can. Alright, so it's starting to do something because the temperature's going down from the vent. I could feel cold air. So this started up at a little bit above that mark right there. So I'll just get a good view of this. We're shooting for the green. That's in the 40s. Well, it's definitely cold air coming out of there now. So it's showing 60. When I get down to the 40. Alright, so we're showing blue, which means we're not quite there yet, almost to the green. This thing just doesn't want to spot where it actually starts to, right there. Like a partial can of this, but you can still feel some in there. Same with this, no partial can. Definitely a weight difference. Should have measured the cans beforehand. Alright, so our center vent temperature is getting there now. And it is cold, cold, cold. So we're down to 50 or 40-ish, 45. Hard to say. I'm in between 40 and 60, so let's say about 48 degrees right now. But we don't have the right differential pressure either, so. See where we're at when we close it. So we're in the blue. Not quite there yet. Like I said, maybe I'll try another can because this doesn't seem to be emptying the full can. Yeah, I don't know why it ain't taking the whole can in, but we got like two or three half cans in there now. But it is icy cold in here. Down to about 40, yeah, still 48. But like that's cold. I'd like to see it get to the green, but 48 is pretty damn cold. I gotta look up what the pressure should be with the ambient temperature right now. All right, so the ambient temperature right now is 80 degrees. It says the low side is supposed to be between 45 and 55. It's a little low on that. This is supposed to be between 175 and 250. So we're good on the high side. It's the low side ain't quite there yet. And maybe the ambient temperature in this area is a little different than where the thermostat's at, where the thermometer's at. But I don't know. It's cold on the inside. I may end up taking it into an AC shop, just have them do it themselves or check it themselves. Let the professionals do it. I can do most mechanic stuff, but when it comes to AC stuff, I don't know a whole lot. I know enough to be dangerous, basically. So I'm going to try the fourth can, see if I can get another half can in there and see if we can get these pressures up. So we want that pressure between 45 and 55 or 50. So this pressure is good. Let me close it off and see what the pressure is there. Seems to be holding there. All right, so I decided to weigh the full can in comparison to the empty cans or half empty cans. So a full can is 15.6 ounces. The empty ones are down to 6.4. So that means it's used about 9 ounces each. And if I go by that number, then we got more than enough in the system to reach 24, because that's 9 times 3 basically, which is more than enough. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that and hope for the best. Yeah, it's definitely nice and cold in here, so I think we're good to go as far as the AC. I got a few parts to put back on, but I think most of you have seen that in previous videos. So it's just a bunch of plastic pieces that need to go back on, get the car back on the ground. But other than that, I think we are done with checking the evaporator, checking the condenser, replacing the compressor. It no longer makes noise. Let's shut it off so we can hear how quiet it is when it's off compared to the old one. So now that the compressor is off, you see it's no longer spinning. It is nice and quiet. It ain't grinding like the old one was or the reman one was. So we have fixed the main problem. That was the compressor. All right, that's going to do it for this video on fixing the AC on the Camaro. Pretty sure we're good on it now. I will update you if it changes, but for now, I think we're good. That AC, the compressor, the reman compressor from O'Reilly's, I think that was the problem. I mean, 2 of them were bad. And the new one's on there, works great, no noise when it's not on, and it's pumping cold. So I think we're gonna be good. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like down there, leave me a comment, let me know what I can do better, and subscribe while you're at it. So again, appreciate y'all watching. If you made it this far, it's awesome. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.